Welcome back to Englopod, a place to learn English with podcasts, get motivation, and change your life. Here you will learn English by talking about different situations in real life, briefly discussing famous books, practicing with stories, and working on self-improvement, all in English. Today we're going to look at how the best students really study. We'll be breaking down some amazing advice from a student who went to Cambridge University, one of the top universities in the world, to find out the secrets to learning well. So, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you study for hours and hours, you work so hard, but then the next day you can't remember anything? It's like all that hard work was for nothing? If that sounds like you, believe me, you are not alone. So many students feel this exact same way. But here's the thing. Top students, they have a secret. And it's not that they just study for more and more hours. Nope. Their secret is something different. They study smarter. And when we say smarter, we mean they use their time in a much better, more effective way. Today, we're going to learn exactly what that secret is. So let's take a look at some really common study habits. A habit, is just something you do all the time, often without thinking. But are these habits actually helping you learn, or are they just wasting your time? Let's find out. It's kind of crazy, but according to Cambridge student Abdul, the most popular ways to study are actually the worst. They can make you waste so much time and not really help you learn at all. I know that might sound surprising, but the research totally backs them up. All right, so let's jump into 3 big study mistakes that so many of us make. We're talking about rereading, highlighting, and summarizing. And hey, you probably do some of these. I know I used to. Let's see why they're not so great. Okay, mistake number 1 is rereading. This is when you read a chapter and then you just read it again, and maybe even a third time. So why do we do it? Well, because it feels easy. The words look familiar and we think, oh yeah, I know this. But that's the problem. If it's too easy, your brain doesn't have to use any energy. And if your brain isn't working, you're not really learning. Real learning happens when things are just a little bit difficult. Mistake number 2, highlighting. You know what I mean, right? Using those bright yellow or pink markers to color the important parts of the book. It feels good. It looks like you're being super productive, and it can help you focus. But really, highlighting is a trick. It tricks your brain into thinking you know something. You see that bright yellow sentence, and your brain says, yep, got it. But you probably don't. You just recognize it. You haven't really learned it. And the third big mistake is summarizing. This is when you write down short notes about everything you just read. And sure, your notes might look amazing, all neat and organized. Abdul said he had friends at Cambridge with these beautiful, colorful notes, but they often got bad grades. Why? Well, because writing a really good summary takes a very, very long time. And the benefit, the good thing you get back, is actually really small. It's just not an efficient way to study. Efficient just means getting great results without wasting a lot of time. Okay, so if rereading, highlighting, and summarizing are bad, what are we supposed to do? Well, now we get to the good stuff. We're about to learn the 2 secret techniques that the top students at Cambridge actually use. And trust me, these are powerful. The first secret is called active recall. Let's break that down. Active means you're doing something, you're working. And recall means to remember. So active recall is the act of pulling information out of your brain. Think about it. It's the complete opposite of rereading, where you're just putting information in. Active recall is hard work for your brain. And that is exactly why it's so good for you. When your brain has to work hard to find a memory, that memory gets way, way stronger. Secret number 2 is spaced repetition. Okay, spaced means there's some time in between, and repetition means you do something again. So, spaced repetition means you study the same information again and again, but with breaks in between. And here's the most important part: you review the information at the perfect moment, right when you're about to forget it. Doing this tells your brain, hey, pay attention, this is important, you need to remember this. Now, each of these techniques is really powerful by itself, but when you put them together, wow, it's like a learning superpower. When you use active recall to pull information out of your brain, and you use spaced repetition to plan when you do it, well, that is the single best study strategy you can possibly have. Okay, so we know the secrets are active recall and spaced repetition. But how do we actually use them? Let's get practical. Let's look at how you can build this into a real study plan that you can start using today. Here are some really simple ways to start practicing active recall right now. After you read a page in a book, just close it and try to say everything you can remember out loud. Or you could ask yourself questions about what you just read. Can you answer them without looking at the book? Another great way is to draw a spider diagram, or what some people call a mind map. You just write the main idea in the middle and then connect all the other ideas to it. This forces your brain to remember how everything is connected. Okay, here's a really powerful method for active recall. It's called the Feynman technique. It's so simple, but it works so well. First, you just pick a topic you're studying. Second, you pretend you have to teach it to a little kid, like a 5-year-old. You have to use really, really simple words. Third, you'll start to notice the parts that are hard to explain simply. These are your gaps, the things you don't really understand yet. And finally, you go back to your book, you study those parts again, and then you try to explain it simply one more time. If you can explain it simply, you really truly understand it. Now, all of this might sound like a lot of work to keep track of, but don't worry, there's a tool that makes it super easy. Ali Abdul says that this free app was the best friend for him and all the other top students at Cambridge, and it's called Anki. So how does Anki work? Well, it's basically a smart flashcard app. You make little cards with the question on one side and the answer on the other. That's active recall right there. Then, after you try to answer a question, you tell the app if it was easy, okay, or hard for you. And this is where the magic happens. Anki uses your answer to schedule one to show you that card again at the absolute perfect time. It does all the spaced repetition for you. It's like having a personal study coach right in your pocket. Wow, we have learned so much today. We talked about the bad study habits to avoid and the powerful new ones to start using. So, what does your new study plan look like? Let's put all the most important ideas together. First things first, the things you need to stop doing. You have to stop passive learning. Passive just means your brain isn't working very hard. So that's things like rereading our notes over and over or highlighting sentences. I know they feel productive, but they're just not a good way to learn. So what should you start doing instead? You need to start active learning. Active means your brain is awake and working hard. Use active recall, like testing yourself with questions, and use spaced repetition, like using the Anki app, to make sure what you learn really sticks. So, if you remember just one thing from today, please let it be this: the way you study is more important than how much time you study. Seriously, studying for 1 hour with these smart methods is so much better than studying for 10 hours with the bad ones. And that brings us to the end. I want to leave you with one final question to think about. After hearing all this, what is one new thing you will try this week? Will you try closing the book and talking out loud? Maybe you'll try the Feynman technique? Or maybe you'll just download Anki and give it a shot. Just pick one thing and start studying smarter, not just harder. Thanks for listening.